Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Grades Cardcast, where we talk about what's going on in the card and collectible world. I'm your host, Paka Bounty, along with my good friend, Trading Card Bro. And on today's episode are you excited about this, bro? Here we go.
I
The
am.
state of grading, and also a little bit about One Piece TCG. So, what are your thoughts on kind of where we're at in the grading scene about these three big companies? Maybe a couple others we'll touch base on here in a minute, but where do you find that we are at we'll touch base in the card collecting part, the card grading part of this community. Where are we at right now, man?
I think it's something that recently I think has become a known thing that people are starting to accept that I'm really excited about is that CGC is 100% in the top three. You know, I've seen multiple people reference it. You see more CGC cards graded, and it's kind of like even a recommendation, if you would, between different groups on Facebook or Reddit or what you see on Instagram. I mean, we all know I'm a huge advocate for, CGC, so I think that's really cool to see. So I really would say that that's cool that they've defined it. Just for the longest time, it's been PSA or budget. No in
Yeah.
between. You've seen other people trying to come in, and obviously with the sports card market, you'll see like SGC, Sports Grading Card Company, or if I'm butchered that, I'm pretty sure that's what they are. And you've seen other little ones, here. If you've ever felt like wasting $20 and buying one of those bots is from Walmart, the market one that's supposed to have a Charizard in it, but you did a bunch of commons.
Oh, it's
Um,
a BC. Is it BCCG?
I think so. Which,
It's like
interestingly enough, you
Beckett's.
can still get some pretty good cards out of them sometimes. You having one of those now, but
I do.
obviously you want to crack it and did it to something else. But so I think that's neat, and I really stand with as far as the turnarounds in the markets. I think we determined well in a cast we haven't put up yet that CGC is really holding the reins on that. But it is interesting that a lot of these PSA I haven't looked at BGS specials, but for PSA for the holidays, I know they were offering a bunch of like incentivized like, hey, grade now, right now, special limited time right now,
Mm,
super low
okay.
price
Yeah.
for the holidays, and then it's like, well, you won't get it back till next year, so what's the point?
Well, that's kind of interesting because I did not see any discounts on Beckett's. Well, I mean, and now I do. It says treat yourself during the holiday. Holiday rush service level plus 25% off grading and more. Valid 12/5 through 1/1.
Right.
So I see Beckett doing now just a little bit of advertising, but I am on the CGC trading card homepage and I don't see pretty much any advertisement about a discount of any kind.
I feel like they
And you
normally
could
don't
maybe
need to, just most of the time the discounted prices from
correct.
PSA is the CGC
Yeah,
norm.
yeah, that's exactly kind of why you and I venture to the CGC and their quality. I think what they're doing is they're slowly earning their trust and they're slowly earning their reputation in the card market with people who do not collect comic books, because comic books is what I would go to for CGC. And like I've said in the past
Mm-hmm.
cardcast, that they got their start and they got their living off of comic books and grading comic books. So taking that knowledge over here, I don't think they need to. Their prices are fair, everything's good to go, and that tells you about Beckett and PSA and where they're at right now in the grading market. It tells you that CGC has taken some business away from them, especially them being able to be a universal grade on their slab. I think is super unique. It's not a sports grading slab on a Pokemon card or on a Yu-Gi-Oh card. These are a CGC universal grading company that are grading any type of card, a Weiss card, a Star Wars card, any type of card you could think of, which is super awesome. Do they lack in the pop report that you explained last cardcast? Yeah, I do think there's definitely some things on their trading card page that they could update. But hopefully that will help in time with everybody else supporting them and doing good stuff. So in the state of the market right now, man, I do think CGC is looking pretty positive.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think that another interesting thing that I started to notice too is me, I like grading cards a lot, and I used to think, well, if it's a card I really like, it's got to have subgrades, and what I'm noticing is CGC is almost this weird hybrid between Beckett and PSA because PSA obviously no subgrades, But with Beckett, I feel like it's like a must. Like if you're doing a Beckett slab, it's foolish to not get subgrades. But with CGC, since their prices are so worth it, I see a lot of people not getting subgrades, even on cards that are gems. Like I've seen a lot of cards that if they were in my personal collection, I'd be like, yeah, no brainer, I'm getting subgrades. But people don't get them, and it doesn't really affect the prices. Like people, it seems like people don't care that it doesn't have subgrades,
They
which to
they just
me,
want that they just want that authentic slab, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it, and it's like it's a pro bono if you do have subgrades, I would think, but it still definitely helps, because you really know what you're getting. But I mean, if you have a pristine 10, it's a pristine 10. It's kind of the consensus I'm getting
Yeah.
from the CGC, like secondary market, if you would.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it makes a perfect 10 if you pay a little bit more. Or it may not, and it may still be a pristine 10 with the subgrades because there's a 9 on there or whatever the case may be. But I do agree. I don't think people are searching hardcore for subgraded cards. I think they're just looking for just a baseline graded card if they're going to go out of their way to either grade or buy a graded card. So I think that's going to be
Right.
super, super. It's super relevant if you're looking at for your own personal collection. And you're like you just said, you have one or two that you just absolutely love, and you want to make that a priority to subgrade. But you're telling me, and I wanted to just touch base back to what you just said for those who do not grade at all or are getting into the market for it. PSA does not allow subgrades at all.
I'm pretty positive. I'm sure I would have seen one by now if it
I
had
mean, I've never
subgrades.
seen a
I don't.
slab with a subgrade on
Yeah,
PSA, so I'm
they
just,
don't do
yeah.
subgrades. Yeah.
Okay, so that is something that Beckett and CGC, I guess, offer as a luxury, but it's not just
Correct.
a luxury, it is also a sense of detail, right? It's a sense of, okay, well, you just graded this card a 10. Why is it a 10? Or why is it a 9? I need you to tell me from
Right.
the centering, the surface, the corners, and the edges. And so if you truly want to know why they grade the card they grade it as, then you need to get the subgrades. But if you're not going to question them and you take you take their eye and you take their judgment and you send it in and say, you know what, they're the experts, then you know what, don't get the subgrades. Don't worry about it. Like he just said, a
Yeah.
pristine 10 is a perfect 10.
No, for sure. And I think one thing that I guess I like about subgrades is I'm sure it drives some people away because obviously money is everything. So, if you look at CGC's pricing, for example, it's $15 for a bulk grade, your cheapest one, $15 per card, or economy is 25. Now, when you look at that, your subgrades is an extra $15 plus a time waited, plus it says what, 5 days? Where's it at?
Hmm.
5
Something like that.
days, add 5 days to your turnaround for subgrades. But for me, I feel good about that. For example, like you just saw the submission that I just got back. I did the Monda Shanks, and you know what? It's a pristine 10, and the edges were 9.5. The only thing that kept it from being a perfect card. Now, with that being said, I do have to ask myself, and I think a lot of people should ask themselves when they go to grade, if you were just to do a normal bolt sub, or which you couldn't do the Monda Shanks as a bolt sub because it's worth more than 250. But if you were to do any card and you do subgrades vice no subgrades, you have to ask yourself. And to my mind, it's time rolling the dice. Is the grader gonna feel generous? Are they not?
Are they
And
having a bad day?
correct, or they just don't throw a quick nod. Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, 10, and they're like, all right, all these cards look like tens, but for the status quo, some are 10s, some are 9.5, some are nines. Who cares? Not my card. It's not
Yeah.
my problem. I'm just doing my job. But with a
Or, oh my God, it's another one of these. Oh, I've gone through 25 of them today. I've just graded a 9 again,
right,
whatever.
right. But if you have subgrades, they have to. Imagine they have to fill out some type of paperwork or something
And
online, like
prove
the
that the
comments.
corners are this.
Correct. Which you don't get a report like that, which would be nice. But like for me, when I got that Monda Shanks back, the only 9.5 was edges, which I kind of
Yeah.
hate hits on edges because I feel like they're kind of bogus, especially on a patch fresh card. Like if that's the 9.5, like hit it on centering, something that I'm like, alright, I know it can't fit, but edges just seems like, well, why not resubmit it and try and get it perfect? You know?
Do you think that's possible? Do you think you could try it and it'll get a 10 from another grader?
Yes. Yeah, the card
Okay.
looked flawless when I sent it in, but
Okay.
obviously, if they see
But
something,
then
they see
you but
something.
then you run the risk of cracking it and then injuring the card.
Well,
You could
you can do
damage
that.
you could damage the surface
You
easy
you
by
can do
cracking it.
that, but there's also different things too, right? There's um
God, man, Beckett, you guys are running a heck of a deal right now for holidays. That is just absolutely wild. Dude, they have so many different deals going on depending off like magazines, 69% off subscriptions, comic book 30% off. You have authentic grading 50% off. They just have the deals and steals for the holidays right now, guys. So if you are into
yeah.
Beckett grading and you really love to grade with Beckett, I'd say right now is a great time to put your submissions in through Beckett Grading Service.
Yeah, I do like that you can do a crossover
Yeah,
with CGC and actually just send in your PSA or Beckett holder. That's what says: a card in a PSA or Beckett holder is evaluated for CGC trading card certification. Select an appropriate grading tier based on the card's fair market value and your desired turnaround time. If the card does not
nice.
cross, the full grading fee will still apply.
Wow. And in Beckett and PSA do not offer that service,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, they do. They do.
Oh, okay. Good. Well,
Yeah.
then good. They even
I don't
even
know if
match
for
so
CGC, but I know PSA and Beckett, like, you can do it. But with that being said, a lot of times what people will do is just crack the slab, right? Because, for example,
yeah.
it's like if CGC's trying to get their name out is like, hey, we grade just as hard as Beckett. We're not like PSA. And I
Mhm.
send in a Beckett 9.5 to CGC. Why would they feel compelled to give it a
To
10?
grade it a 10. Yeah, and
Unless it
then
was
it
like
look
blatant and
yeah.
they're like, yeah, that grader was just an idiot. You know what I mean? That's my take on it.
Well, I guess the only way that the market would find out though is if the person who's receiving that new grade is vocal about it once being a
And I
Beckett
and,
card
and I think
because
they have to presume
CGC
that
could
it
just
is.
not say it.
Yeah, well, at the same time, people do that all the time. You know, one of my good friends just got a first ed shadowless BGS 8.5 SARD with subgrades, and they're
Well,
like, and they want to send it in to PSA in the Beckett's lab in hopes of getting a 9. Me personally, correct the slab, but at the same time, you know, I don't know. People can do what they
it's
want.
difficult. It's difficult. See, that's what I'm saying. These are the decisions
I
that
would almost
we
just
that
rather
we go through.
I would almost just rather. I mean, you're not wrong, but I would rather if I was them just keep it in the 8.5 because it's an 8.5, and
Dude, 8.5s are not bad.
the
Don't be
other
a
thing.
snob about it,
Well,
man.
the other thing too that people need to realize is when you do send this card over for a crossover, right? In any of them, there's that inherent risk. You sign that waiver when you hit that agree to send to graders. You know,
Hmm.
before you do a submission, you accept the risk that if there is damage to your card, it's on you, not them. You know what I
Yep, they're
mean?
not liable. They're not liable, and that's also why you trust in them to crack that slab or whatever. It's just it is better for you to crack the slab by yourself. And please watch some videos on YouTube, watch some videos, and just educate yourself on how to properly crack a slab if you're going to want to transfer it to a different grading service or submit it. So I do advise be very cautious with that. I've yet to try to attempt it. I'm going to here soon. There was a great trade that Trading Card Bro got me. It was a first edition Red Eyes, um, and I'm looking to get it cracked from the Flawless Grading Card Company. I'm looking to get it removed from that slab over to CGC. So we'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. But speaking of what we had just touched base on the graders having like an attitude or a bad day, I want to kind of touch base on where we are at right now, and specifically PSA, man. So I got an article pulled up right now. This is actually from last year in April. It's April 21st of 2021. And it basically talks about when Nat Turner and a group of investors acquired PSA and the Collectors Universe properties earlier in the year for $853 million. He promised that artificial intelligence would soon become a part of the grading process. And that's then when we learned that one of his companies called Genamint Technology was basically bought by PSA, and now they are basically
Hmm.
starting to use this AI technology. And it says acquiring and integrating Genamint will allow us to grade more trading cards faster while improving accuracy, stated Nat Turner, who is now executive chairman of the Collectors Universe, PSA's parent company.
How do you spell
We're not
gentleman? Sorry.
Genamint's going to be Genamint, and it's
Alright, sorry about
Genamint
that. I just
Incorporated.
wanted to look up
No,
an
no, no, you're
article.
good. And it says, we're not eliminating humans from the grading process. He continued, we're improving the process by adding technology. In fact, PSA is still hiring graders to tackle huge backlog of submissions. It's trying to basically sift through all of these orders from constant submissions from people. And especially in the springtime, I guess, is a really heavy time that people will put in submissions, or I guess it's the quarter, and that people get payouts or do certain things. But the Genomit founder, Kevin, I think it's Linane. He's the former CEO of Venom, I think is that's how you pronounce it, and which is a market leader in the machine of vision field. So this guy has a background already, kind of in the scientific field of just in these
Right.
crazy advancements. And so I'm just super interested, one, to see how PSA integrates this AI technology and keeps announcing their process and how they're doing that. And I also want to know, are they planning on maybe eventually moving to a full AI service similar to a smaller grading company called AGS?
You know, I
For
would.
those of you who don't know AGS, by the way, AGS is an all AI grading card company. There has been some rumors going around, which I did kind of just want to throw out there, that they didn't get fully funded right on Kickstarter,
Hmm.
but they've been kind of at every Collecticon and stuff like that recently to try to catch people's eyes. Um, they had a couple big backers, a couple big celebrities, I guess, back them and stuff like that. But it didn't meet the funding. They kind of had some shady stuff that was kind of working on in the background, and one of their owners is kind of a controversial figure at the moment. And so, and I do feel like they're trying to go the genuine route and trying to get some attention from the other two big companies like Beckett or like CGC. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're trying to just compete with them entirely and be their own thing and just be a full giant in the AI grading card community. But after seeing this from PSA, man, and seeing that they're bringing AI into their grades, I don't know if they can compete with that. They're going to have to maybe get bought out by Beckett or by CGC, and maybe that'll also help grade comic books for CGC. I don't think that's a bad thing. And Trading Card Bro and I talk all the time, and I feel like you and I had talked about if, which seems how PSA is doing it, if you combine human grading and AI grading, I think you can make the perfect grading service. Not all AI, not all human. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I think really a good system that you could do it with too is, and it would see. I'll state my first statement, then I'll go into the next part. But my thing is if you were to do a hybrid, I feel like the best way to do it for the most quality assurance would be human grade, run through
Yep.
said machine,
With that software.
maybe more than once, just to verify it's there for consistency purposes, right?
Well, you
Run it.
have, but keep in mind they're on a time frame. So maybe even once, if this software is supposed to be perfect and it could just be graded alone by this software, maybe you have the guy, then like you said, AI.
Yeah, but even if you're talking about like an automated process like that, and with the modern day technology we have in computer processing and softwares, I mean, a process like that shouldn't take more than 30 seconds, right? And
Oh, agreed, agreed.
right, so I'm
Yes,
saying if you're talking about roughly a minute and a half to just run it through twice for consistency purposes and make sure you're getting the same thing as a quality assurance. I mean, and you show a process like that, if PSA did it smart, they would do something like that, show a YouTube video or something just to get people to
correct.
trust. Because my thing is one, and have a system in place where if the software picks up something that the grader didn't, obviously you're taking a little more time, uh, but you're getting
Yeah,
that
yeah.
true grade. And I really think PSA, you owe me money if you do this. I'm copywriting it. What they really should do, in my opinion, is if you wanted that service, is um,
Ooh, okay. I see where you're going
is
with
if you
this.
wanted that
Continue. Yeah.
service, make it a fee, and then
Correct.
make
You
it
upcharge
and
that.
then make it a
Yes.
different label saying
Well,
that you had an
absolutely.
AI
Yeah.
on as well.
Yes.
But
Yes. You have
are
the
they
AI authentic slab and the human. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Are they
Absolutely.
gonna do
Or
that?
backed by the
Are they
AI
gonna do that? Probably
software.
not. But the reason why I say to do that is for quality assurance. Is
Ooh.
PSA's already been in a lot of controversies as far as like as we all know, the Logan Paul 10, 10
Yeah,
Pokemon
I
Illustrator
know.
card where it really
Yeah.
doesn't look like 10, and we've all seen PSA 10s that don't look like
Okay,
10s.
but then this is where they can earn their legitimacy. What if it is a slab that you do pay extra $10 a card or $20 a card, whatever they
Correct.
do, and it on the slab where it normally is,
Yeah.
it'll have like above the
Or like a
10,
little ribbon
above
or
where it
something.
says.
Yeah.
No, it'll just have the Genimint little leaf. It'll have the mint leaf,
Yeah.
and it'll almost be like, bam, this is a slab backed by Genimint, or used with the Genimint
You
technology. And
should
so, like,
probably wait to
yes,
post
it
this.
is a
This is a
different
really
label.
good idea. So if you're listening
No, no,
PSA
no.
or watching, no, I'm
No,
just
are
kidding.
you kidding me, man? That's so funny.
Um,
No, but I do think that's a great idea, man. I do think, like you were saying, the process of incorporating the human and then running it through and then letting the human check one
cause,
last time and then
right,
putting into the slab. Oh,
right. Well,
top
cause
notch.
sometimes you have to read between the lines, right? Especially when you're talking about a major corporation. And this isn't meant to be like a slander. I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate here. We're not eliminating humans from the grading process.
Well, and
We're
that's what they say
improving the
here.
process by adding technology. I know I have it pulled up right here.
Correct.
What I'm saying with
Yeah.
that is like, okay, we're not eliminating humans from the grading process. Well, slabbing cards, like actually putting the cards in a slab and putting a label in it is part of the grading process. So you really have to like play devil's advocate sometimes, especially with major corporations, and be like, okay, well, we're living up to our word. We're not eliminating them. It's still a human
Correct.
putting it in a slab. It's not a
They're
machine.
just the assembly line of it.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah, I
mean.
got you.
So
100%. Which part are they playing? Are they playing in this?
correct. Yeah, okay, yes, we did it. A human is opening the bots that you sent your precious collectibles into degraded. Well,
Yep.
that's part of the grading process. Like, okay, no, it's not. Or, like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
So,
our human. That's our humans with the AI. No, it's not. I want a human to check my card, and I want an AI to check my card for the actual grading service you're already doing. And yes,
correct.
that is what I hope that they could eventually, like you said, come out with a nice video, come out with a nice reel
Right.
or something, a TikTok, something, whatever you want to do in order to show, hey, look, we're incorporating this AI, and it shows the grader putting it through, and then him checking it with his magnifying glass and just like doing everything that's really, really cool. Like, I want to see this. I'm interested in that. I think that's really awesome. And so until they do that, man, I don't know how they're using this technology. I don't know how they're incorporating it into their everyday use today. But it does not look like Beckett or CGC has talked about this at all. So
Right.
PSA is the first ones, in my opinion, to go this route and to compete with the smaller companies such as AGS and stuff like that. And guys, there are other smaller grading card companies and stuff like that coming out of the woodwork. Some will stay, some will fail, some will still be there, but not be worth as much as the big three. Just sadly, they will not. And speaking about the small newcomers and all that, what about this new One Piece TCG, bro?
I mean, I love it, dude. I love it. The last thing I was going to
Yes.
say before we move on to that is one, I am interested. I agree with you. I'm very interested to see where it goes, and we'll definitely have an update on that as the future time goes on. And we can just hope that it ends up being a good thing. It can go either way, but that's up to PSA to decide and Gentleman. But with
Oh,
that being said, yes,
100%.
dude, the One Piece TCG, I absolutely love it. You know me, I was a big Digimon player, and you tried to or bid on Digimon. I wouldn't say bid, so to speak, but I'm bid on Digimon still, because it's still actively a thing. And Bandai did a really good job with that, especially after what I would call the toppling of uh, Super Dragon Ball card game, which was ultimately a letdown, and it's really just
It's not
a
a
money
card
pit.
game. It's
It's
let's
not.
just be real.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much a
not a
C.
card
It's
game.
pretty much a CCG at this point.
Yeah, I wish they would just turn it into a CCG and just say it's a CCG, which would be
Yeah.
great because then they'd have a CCG and they'd have two playable card games, which brings
Yeah.
us to
The issue is
One
they're trying to
Piece.
keep it alive, and
Well,
and that leads
yeah,
into a concern that I'll talk about a little bit later. But like I was saying, I'm huge into Digimon, and I would try to get you into it, and you weren't really about it. I was like, hey man, you really should jump on it, One Piece. And then Pocket Bounty was like, you know what, I'll go for it. So
I'm
it's
hooked. I'm hooked.
yeah,
I'm hooked, and I'm normally not hooked on Bandai. Bandai, I do agree, has amazing cards. And hey, look, I do collect Dragon Ball Super. I collect Dragon Ball Super because the cards are beautiful, and I watch the anime, and I love the characters. I don't collect Dragon Ball Super to play the game. It's a trash game with trash mechanics, and I don't think it was ever intended to be a game. Digimon was intended to be a game with a little bit of thought about re-entering the market and having collectability with it, and they upped the ante as it went and they saw progress with it, which I love.
Right.
One Piece is a
Right.
beautiful blend of both.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'm addicted, dude. Now, I can't find any product at the moment because it's all sold out because I don't even think One Piece knew that this was going to hit as hard as it did.
I think they did, and that's what makes me mad about that. Is the same thing happened with Digimon, which is why I'm a big advocate and telling people not to buy singles. Like, you know me, did I luckily go hard with pre-orders? Yes, and I got very lucky. Obviously hit the Mondo Shanks out of a chase. Super blessed. Like, no,
Dude.
did I not hit Nami? No, I didn't. I'm sad about that. But the Shanks was phenomenal, so I can't even be upset. I'd rather hit Mondo Shanks over than Nami any day. And I had a bunch of good stuff like the Law, alternate art, the Yamato parallel,
You
the
hit two Yamatos,
Flamingo.
right?
Yeah, that was out of a separate bots, but
Well, it doesn't matter, brother. You hit two of them, dude. I mean, look, you're getting good hits. It's a fun set to open. It's really, really
right.
beautiful.
I did hit
All the
Boa too.
artwork is great.
Boa,
Yeah,
and I'm glad people are catching on to looking at TCG Player. Which, for one, people, listen, don't buy the singles right now. I know people are gonna say no. I mean, the only one I could remotely justify would be the Mondo Shanks because hey, you have to open a ton of bots to get it. But
and there's
aside
only one manga card, correct?
Correct, and that seems to be what they're going to do is they're going to have one alternate art manga per set and one alternate art Dawn card. And then this one we got the Luffy one, and that said it'll be the Shanks. But what I
And
want
thanks
to,
for my Christmas present, bro. I really appreciate that, man.
oh, dude, the ulti, dude, she's beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, the ulti, and then you gave me
Oh,
you gave
that's
me
right, I
the
did.
Luffy Don card, man. I
Okay, I
really
forgot
think
about
the
that.
Don cards are underrated, man. They're really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're grade worthy in my opinion, honestly.
100%, dude. 100%. They're beautiful artwork, great style. I absolutely love the whole entire thing, man.
Yeah, man, it's great. And what I was gonna get to, and I will go back to that. Let me pull this up here. Another TCG player link. What I wanted to show everyone is the price charts with Digimon, and the reason why I talked about it so much. So Digimon, oh, sorry.
Yeah, Trading
Right.
Card Bro forever talk about some Digimon guys.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
No, it's good. It's good stuff. Give Digimon some love, dude.
uh, what I wanted to say was, let me make sure it didn't switch frames. No, we're still recording. Awesome. Cool. What I wanted to say is about BT1 when you look at, like cards that are very expensive and were very expensive in the beginning and now are not so expensive, right? And that's a big deal because the same thing's happening in
One Piece.
One Piece, right? You have these cards, and in One Piece it's even worse because there's more people who are into One Piece than Digimon. It's just a fact, right? And I think
Well,
people
dude,
saw
it's the longest running anime show to date.
right, and I think people saw in Japan these cards are going crazy. Like, what? A Mondo Shanks is 2.5k, 3k card. That's absolutely insane. And then they were probably like, well, I need to get a piece of that. And you see now Mondo Shanks is sitting about 744.
Well, it's also because you can't find the product, and you said that
Right.
they knew it. They may have secretly known it, man, but they weren't going to know it full on with the intention of overproducing. And I think they wanted to sell out rather than have too much shit on the shelves right off the bat.
Well, here's the big thing, right? Is and I'll get back to this Digimon thing in a minute. The big thing is, right, eventually cards are not meta. And in games, Bandai games specifically, just like any other very playable card game, eventually when they're not meta, people sell them because they don't want all these cards sitting around. For example, the biggest offender in my opinion, right here, the Roanoa Zoro SR.
Ooh,
$25.
Zoro.
Right, it's the 3-drop 5k Rush Zoro.
Hmm.
And people are like,
Hmm.
oh, well, he's going to be more expensive net set because he's playable. I agree. I'm not saying he's not. Right, you looked at the beginning when the card name, before the card name dropped for pre-order was an $18 card. Shoots up to 27, now down to 25, 26. You looked at near mint foil sales, anywhere from 25 to $30. By set 3, this is going to be a $5 card, if that. And that's if someone just wants to pick them up because no one's going to buy them because it won't have that tangible use. Right now, we're limited on booster boxes. The most you're going to get from a bots, in my opinion, is one of them. You may get lucky in some ad too. You're going to get one from a bots. So yeah, can you justify a bots kinda for right now? Yeah, like yeah, why not? Roll the dice, but you don't. No one's going out there and buying a ton of bots to like hopefully get a
After
playset
after the new year.
of Zoro by itself. Well, it's a little up in there. I'm talking about like I'm estimating by the second half of 2023,
Okay.
everything in set one is going to be very affordable, with the exception
Yes.
of Mondashanes, and I'll show you why.
Well, yeah, yeah, I
So
agree
I
with
pulled
you.
up these two Omnimons, right? And the biggest thing is the biggest chaser in BT1, right,
Okay.
was the Omnimon alternate art, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you looked at it, this is a 3 month period. It went from being a $64 card to a $35 card. But now look back a year. In the past year, it went from being 70 to 100 based on a different set release. Because you're talking January to June, he became a playable card again. Now it's 100. Now it's down. If you go back even further, I don't know if you can go back even further. We'll view sales history. Uh, Load more sales. Wow, there's a ton of sales. Because he's selling a lot right now because he's like a $40 card. Either way, when this card dropped, I want to say it was like in the 200 mark. Yeah, you can't even go back that far. It was like a $200 card, and I'm ashamed to say, when I bought mine, it's in great shape, so I'm not upset about that. When I bought this card, I bought it for like 150, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's down. But what I wanted to say about that is, think about that when you think of a lot of the stuff like your Nami, right? Sure, Nami is 100 and what, 70 now, which is just disgusting, and they're buying out on FOMO. I did it. People want their waifus. That's why. But you see Boa now. All the listings are at 124, but market price is 106.
Yeah.
Uh, you see that, and then you see some other onesie twosies like the Zoro alternate leader card, which I think those are actually gonna hold value up more than the alternate arts, just because, hey, it's a
Well, it's a
collectible
leader
art,
card. It's a leader card, man. Come on,
right?
those are
But
going to be the most, and it's an alternate. So
either way, the market's still like disgusting on them and not realistic, especially for the Zoros because they're just so playable and so
it,
meta right now. But I say give it a year,
it'll
and they
even
will
out.
be very affordable. Maybe they'll be
Correct.
$50 cards, but hey, if you needed that single, that's way more reasonable.
Well,
Um,
and it's a very playable game, dude. That's
and,
another thing. Like a
well,
lot of these cards are going to be
right,
playable other than the
well,
alternates.
right. Well, so is Digimon, right? And here's
Correct.
the big issue with the longevity of this game is what I wanted to say is, and let me finish this first point first, then I'll come right back to that. Mondashaints, the reason why I say Mondashaints is going to be different is because when I think Mondashaints, as far as this one of special in a set, I think about the Omnimon alternate art from Digimon Double Diamond. Now, what's interesting about this is this card came out, I think, in like the fifth set. Don't smite me if I'm wrong, but you looked at it, right? And over a year, because it's been out for a year, when the set first dropped, it was about a $550 card, which is really
Yeah.
good because you're talking about a multi-case hit, just like Mondashaints. Really good. If you go to it now and you want one, they're sitting at a grand, man. And if you look at the
Yeah.
last three sales on November 13th, 1200. November 25th with a picture on TCG Player, 1400.
Wow.
December 10th, 995. So
Wow.
because it's
Yeah. Oh
a
my
special card,
God.
like no one's putting this in a deck. Even if you want to flex, no one's putting it in a deck. It's
Yeah.
just that one of special card, and you're gonna see that with now what's different about One Piece is not every Digimon set has this. This is like one of two Digimon sets that has a card like this that is like some weird setup, right? So you have Manda Shanks here, and then you have the Ace D Portas, um, or sorry, Portas D Ace, my bad. In set two of One Piece. So it's gonna be interesting to see that. But basically, what I'm saying is if you want these singles to get a master set, just wait.
Yeah.
Because the Nami and
Yeah.
Boa, I mean, I do see them staying high for a while, but eventually people are gonna.
Especially if you're going to play with them.
Well,
Especially if you're going to play with some cards, don't overpay
well,
for cards that you know you're going to be using in a deck, and they're
right.
just trying to get a few
Well,
six, seven, $8 squeezed out of a common card. Don't do it.
well, here's the
Do
thing.
not do it.
Here's the thing too. Like two of these up here, or a few of these make a lot of sense, right? The Zoro's getting a lot of play. Law, alternate leader, and Doflamingo, all getting a lot of play. Law is a very playable card. They're low, but now if you look at Yamato, she's 85, and in my opinion, one of the most beautiful cards in the set, if not top five,
It
at least top
yes,
five.
at least
Here's the
top
thing.
five.
Here's the thing. $85. And what's interesting about this is there's 20 listings at 85. Here's the thing. That card's not playable. It is.
Nope.
Every card's playable. No
Yeah, but
one's
you're not
using it.
going to play that.
No
Correct.
one's using it. So it's
Correct.
interesting that she remains at high price. Does people know that she's hard to hit? right? And
And
my
it's a beautiful card.
out of 14 boxes, I hit two, and that was literally by chance because I got the case, and then I randomly got another one, and then another one, and I randomly hit her. That's not common. The most I've seen pulled in a case of her is one, and that's through multiple cases. Now, on the other hand, Law and Flamingo, they're gonna go down because really they're not like they are lovable characters in the show. Like people like them, but I'm saying like it's still going to be an obsolete leader at some point. So at that point, you're just paying for the novelty of an alternate art. Whereas Zoro's 50-50 because either way because everyone loves Zoro. He's like he's like the Sasuke of not of One Piece in my opinion, and not that he's a bad guy, but because he's like the favorite off main character. If that made sense.
Hmm. No, dude. I'm all about a beautiful collectible card game, especially of an amazing anime that comes out by a great company like Bandai. They do it right. I'm allowed to get a few bits and pieces of packs and starter decks and stuff like that from Target, or maybe one or two packs from a local game store. Put together a deck. I got to play with you, and it was just a really fun time. First time in a long time that I've had an absolute blast playing a unique style card game. But my main question with this is, what do you think we're going to see right out of the gate graded more with One Piece? CGC, Beckett, or PSA? If you could
I
guess.
I think budget.
Really? I was going to say CGC.
I've seen a lot of CGC actually, which is what made me happy to that comment I made right in the beginning of the show, where I see more people choosing CGC, which is awesome. I've seen a lot
Yeah.
on the Facebook groups I follow, like the One Piece, resale ones. I've seen a ton of CGC and Beckett, and almost no PSA, because people want those
Wow.
subgrades. So I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of
What?
Beckett, and
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of CGC. So me, I've only graded one card, the Mondo Chain, so I did CGC because excuse me, I like CGC a lot, and you know, I
I
just
know
think I just I
CGC's
just think people want the
CGC's beautiful.
subgrades because the way they do the alternate arts in One Piece, much like Digimon, which is I think what really helped it gain some traction, is the beautiful alternate arts, right? Nice textured
Yeah.
cards. They took all the
Hmm.
that like slowly Bandai's building with their games where they're taking the good elements from them and it's all coming together. So like with One Piece, I see that really is it's all coming together. Now, what I
Yeah.
do
From
worry, and
everything they needed
and
to
I'd like to
do.
talk
Yeah.
about this in a future podcast, is I worry about them putting too much on their plate because Bandai has that new card game coming out, um, a couple new ones in Japan, and then I imagine they're gonna make their way to the U.S. and Europe and everywhere, in English and Australia. Um, I just don't want them to put too much on their plate because what I already saw with One Piece is, and my area is kind of weird down in Jacksonville, Florida. Everyone that plays Digimon just about plays One Piece. Some are making One Piece their primary, but a lot of people are so invested in Digimon that they're not going to let go of Digimon. So the only thing I don't necessarily love is that they're kind of stepping on their own toes, but if they can make it work, they can make it work. Now, the best thing that uh, Bandai can do is stagger the One Piece and Digimon releases, just then they can kind of curb in on that market to prevent people from wanting to like buy Pokemon. Just like you have to keep it afloat. But with
Well,
that,
and it's constant cash flow if you do that.
right now, with that being said, what I don't like is One Piece did the same thing with this release that they did with BT1. The reason why those prices got so erratic is because they didn't print the cards,
Well,
and
dude,
then
that's their thing though, man. They don't ever want to overprint. And I know
it's
that's crappy for us,
it's
dude.
either
I
that it's
understand that
either that or
completely.
they're not ready. Because here's the issue: is like even with BT
No,
one,
no way.
hear me out, hear me out. I'm being serious because they do a lot of printing. You gotta think they're also keeping up with Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's having consistent releases. You don't really hear about it as much, but they are, and they're also printing for Japan too. So it's rough because you know
Yeah, but
they're
Bandai is printing in English at a different place than they are Japan, so it should be looked at
tr-
as almost two separate entities in a
true,
sense.
true,
Which no, no, dude, you're not wrong. They're printing a ton of things, but dude,
right.
Bandai is so massive as a company. There's no way that Pokemon could do it and Bandai not.
They are. It's
But
just
you know what you are saying though, that this isn't just, that's just like saying if Bandai was only printing Digimon, they're printing Digimon, Dragon Ball Super, One Piece, and now you're saying they're coming out with a couple new card games. I understand that, but dude,
I forget what it's
like,
called. It's like called Action something. I won't get into that though, because then we're gonna be
I,
talking about other stuff for hours.
yeah, no, we'll talk about that in an upcoming one. But no, I mean, I agree with you. I do think that they do not need to overwork themselves, but I also know for a fact that they're trying to keep Bandai product very, very collectible, regardless of how
Right.
playable the card
Well,
game
I'm just
is.
interested, and that's why I'm interested about the price. It's just here's basically what happened in my mind, and people in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, and I appreciate you for listening. More importantly, but
Absolutely.
I think like it's weird the way it happened because BT1 it was like boxes were there, then they were gone. Then you
Yeah.
saw a small restock of a couple, which is why I was very on the fence about opening my last One Piece spots, but I'm glad I did because I got the Yamato and the
Yeah.
alt art Captain Kid, which I didn't have, so I was really excited about that. But anyways, back on the point. You saw them and then they were gone, and then card prices were just crazy for like the next 2 to 3 sets because you just couldn't find the BT1 stuff, and there was staples in it, which is why like cards like the Zora, like I said, are gonna maintain value for a while, even possibly go up. Um, so it's just gonna be interesting because eventually those Digimon BT1 cards, they don't have a ton of value. Like there is a lot of value in Miron, especially in starter decks. And that's another point I did into. Um, so it's just gonna be interesting to see. I guess is what I'm getting at is like what ends up happening because I mean I don't know.
You don't want it to end up like Digimon, and I understand that completely. Honestly, dude, I think I know what Bandai's intentions are for One Piece. I do think they're just letting us get our feet wet, and they're wanting us to crave more. And then as soon as we do, everything like you said will even out for the singles, and they'll have more product come out. And then by the second set or the third set, you're going to see a lot more pop come into the community, and we're going to just
yeah,
love life, hopefully. And there'll
right,
be tournaments everywhere, and One Piece will be great.
right, and I think that's the thing too. I guess is what I was saying is like eventually there's people who love to collect the card game, and then there's people who just play, right? Or there's both. There's people who play and collect. Some of the people who just are all about playing are willing to sell off their cards for the newer sets to make it bad. So eventually, what I'm saying is,
Hmm.
right now you see 16 listings for Nami. Yeah, we'll take her because she's a card that has a insane amount of traction, right? And you see it
Hmm.
going up, but there's still 16 there. So really, how fast are they moving? To some people are just placing them ridiculous, like putting their bobber out, hoping people buy them, change the market. But what's really
Yeah.
gonna happen is eventually people are gonna start selling them for lower, and it only takes one person, and then they just start going lower and lower and lower and lower, right? And then you're gonna see more come out. Just people like, oh darn, it's dumping, and I really don't care about this card. Or they're gonna try and do what they're doing now, where they're selling slabs at ridiculous amounts. Here's my thing: don't buy a BGS 10 Nami for $400. Because I saw that listing earlier on Facebook earlier and about threw up. Because here's the reality of it is, Bandai makes very quality cards. Especially in this print run, they did a great job. If you buy this card for $177, right, that I'm looking at, and it's near mint, it's most likely to come back as a 10 for your like $30 investment in grading plus the shipping. So don't get cheated.
No.
Just don't
But
do it.
but 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 you also got to understand with One Piece, unlike some other, I guess, niche like releases of other sets and stuff, there's such deep lore with this, and some people love these characters so much that they're willing to pay higher prices if they can't find these cards. And that's just the where we're at in the state of One Piece right now. Is just not being able to find it. So yes, guys, just
Yeah.
be patient. Don't have FOMO with One Piece. It is so new and so early. There's going to be no difference in the set that just dropped and then when they restock and do more here in the future. So just wait it out, see if you
Right.
can find some at Target here and there when they do a fresh restock of a couple packs and a couple starters, and just try to try to find what you can and love what you got until there's a plethora that comes into the market. I
Yeah.
mean, I love to see new card games. I love to see new animes and new shows and new just new products come in, and we get to collect just everything, man. And it does hurt the wallets, but it does warm the hearts. And I'm interested to see where this goes, and I'm interested to grade some of mine. I will grade that ulti that you gave me. So again, thank you so much, sir. And I do think that pretty much wraps up this episode, guys. I really hope you guys are excited about One Piece like we are. I hope you guys did get a little bit more informed on the grading market and where it stands at the moment. And please, if you guys have any other topics that you guys want us to talk about, leave them down in the comments below.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks for checking out, everyone. And just, you do what you want with your money. I'm never going to tell people how to invest or what to do, but just hear me out because I lived through the whole phase of, Digimon coming to light and really evolving. And you can even look for yourself, go look at prices from the initial BT1 special release set. You, the prices will go down. Undoubtedly. There will be some cards, some onesie twosies like Mondo Shanes that I do believe hold their value for the long haul. So sure, try and acquire those or even wait for them to dip, especially with the way the economy is and inflation around the world, a lot of uncertainty. Um, just be on the lookout for the market. But as of right now, don't be a person that goes and buys a romance Dawn case for $2,500
Oh
dollars,
goodness.
because that's
Don't do it.
twice
Don't do
the
it.
value of what it was initially. But aside from that, just the cards will go down in price. It's just a matter of waiting. I could buy a Nami right now if I want to and be done with my master set. But it just doesn't seem worth it. It is a beautiful card. I'm not downplaying that, and it looks even more gorgeous in person. But it's just
Well,
not. It's not worth it in my opinion. So
you guys just stay patient, guys. Just stay patient. Everything will come to fruition. Everything will even out. We really hope that you guys find some amazing trades. We hope that you guys have amazing luck on your current grades. And until next time, we will talk to you guys in the next one.
yeah, have a great night, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in. Peace.